But all right, that was
The Nutty Professor.
Thank you. Hi, I'm Danielle.
And I'm Del.
And this is the Black Catch-Up, where we're catching up on iconic black media we missed out on in our more conservative religious childhood.
Another Eddie Murphy one this week. The Nutty Professor.
The Nutty Professor. We're watching more Eddie.
Yes.
It's me. I'm so sorry. IMDb, as always. I was like, why isn't he saying anything? Because it's me. Out of practice, and we literally just did this.
I know.
Okay. Grossly overweight yet good-hearted Professor Sherman Klump takes a special chemical that turns him into the slim but obnoxious Buddy Love.
Okay. Yeah, as usual, starting off with things we liked. You want to kick this off?
Yeah, so this may be controversial in the sphere of, like, people being alive, but I think this movie did a good job of making the professor a real person, despite the fact that it was just Eddie Murphy in a fat suit. Like, from Eddie Murphy as Sherman, it didn't feel as though he was, like, making fun of fat people in general, almost. Like, you got to see his, like, kind-hearted nature, his intelligence, the fact that he's kind of, like, dorky in some areas. I thought he was, like, a real person. It felt kind of like you could have substituted it with a person who was, like, overweight, and it would have been the same character. Because he wasn't, like, Eddie Murphy himself wasn't like, look at me fat. It was, like, mostly other people saying that to him. And I think he did a good job of, like, kind of showing the struggle that people can have with their body, especially if they are overweight, where they're like, oh, I feel like I can't do anything, and, like, it makes you have less confidence, and if you don't make a lot of progress, you can feel like you're spiraling, and then, like, once you start, like, doing one self-destructive thing, you kind of start doing more. So I think that was a pretty good representation, even though it probably... I don't know if I would say you want this to be played by an actual overweight person, but, like, I think it did a good job despite what it was, if that makes sense.
No, I definitely agree. Like, to me, the movie was, like, 90% fat jokes, but the character Sherman himself had, like, a surprising amount of depth, you know, like...
Yeah, I think that's what it is.
Those, like, scenes of him, like, watching the workout videos on his couch while eating, like, ice cream, or, like, he had, like, a couple of nightmares that were, like... These are, like, real problems people struggle with. It's almost like the character Sherman himself, you could almost substitute his fat problem for, you know, being some other problem someone has, and he still is a real person, you know?
Yeah.
But, I thought Eddie was really funny in this one. And I also really appreciated, especially, like, his voice, the various voices he did.
His voice work, yes.
Yeah, like, he was playing his whole family in those couple scenes, and, like...
There were approximately 5 actors in this movie that weren't Eddie Murphy.
Yeah,
like, he was pretty much everyone. He was the guy on the workout DVD. He was his entire family. He was Sherman. He was, like... There were, like, 5 people who weren't Eddie Murphy in this movie.
Yeah. So, just the voice range and, like, getting all the different voices. And I especially liked the scenes where he'd be Buddy Love and then the Sherman voice would come out.
Oh, yeah.
Like that just, like, seemed, like, just very impressive to me to be able to, like, just switch back and forth like that kind of mid-sentence and things like that. So, the voice acting was just great, and, like, all the other characters were, like, just funny, you know?
Yeah. I liked the relationship between the professor and Miss Purdy.
Yeah.
I thought it was actually a pretty believable relationship. She wasn't, like, pitying him. It seemed as though she genuinely liked him as a person, which I thought was really wonderful. And it didn't seem as though it was a thing where she would like him if he were skinnier. It's like, no, she likes him as he is in the moment, and they have their cute little rapport, and he's, like, kind of nervous around her because, again, he's uncomfortable in his body, and she's really gorgeous because she's Jada Pinkett Smith. Like, I think they had really believable chemistry, so much so that it didn't feel like a thing where... the King of Queens phenomenon, where you kind of have, like, a schlubby guy and a pretty girl, and you're like, 2 plus 2 doesn't equal 4 right here. Like, what's going on?
Yeah.
But this one, it definitely, like, I can connect the dots and see their relationship actually makes sense, which I appreciated.
Yeah, no, definitely agree. And I think that, like, kind of goes back into the depth that Sherman had, you know?
Yeah.
Like, he was a professor, you know, he had like these other things going on, like he had like his own life outside of being a teacher, you know, so
Yeah.
like the relationship just was believable, you know.
Yeah.
I think probably my favorite scene was the scenes with Dave Chappelle, the Reggie character, who was the comedian. Yeah, I thought it was just really funny. I like Dave Chappelle. I thought those scenes were funny, and I think that was kind of like one of the first buddy love scenes. And
Yeah.
in the beginning, I thought it was like a slightly over the top, but it was just super funny by like kind of once you kind of got into the scene and realized like, oh, this is the new character Buddy Love, you know. But
Yeah.
yeah, just hearing like, I don't know, two like great comedians kind of go back and forth was just fun to watch on screen.
Yeah. The last thing I had was I thought the prosthetics in this movie were very well done. Like, I think this movie actually won an Academy Award for makeup and prosthetics. Like, if I'm not mistaken, I'm almost positive it did. But I just thought that like no one looked like, even the scene, literally all Eddie Murphy. Like, they still looked different, and they still didn't look like fake people, I guess. So that was pretty impressive to me, actually. Yeah, it won Best Makeup at the 69th Academy Awards. This movie has an Oscar.
Yeah, wow.
Which is very odd to think of and say.
It is.
But it does.
It is. Wow.
But yeah, the makeup and prosthetics looks really good. Do you have anything else?
Not really. Yeah, I think that was
Okay.
Yeah, that was about it for me.
All right. No.
Okay, yeah.
So on to the negatives.
Yeah, I guess you want to kick it off?
Okay. Although the prosthetics were good, Jada Pinkett was in a terrible wig. I hated it. It was kind of distracting. Her hair looked off.
Yeah.
It was like the makeup looked good, but obviously they didn't win hair award because I hated her wig so much.
I understand that. I felt that. It wasn't great to me either, you know. Yeah, I just had it was like slightly too many fart jokes for me.
Oh yeah, there were so many fart jokes in this movie.
Like the whole thing was pretty much like 90 minutes of like fat jokes and those kind of jokes. But yeah, there were like a few scenes. Like I vividly remember that like first fart scene at the table that went on just far too long.
Oh, it went on forever.
Yeah, but just yeah.
The another thing I have is that this movie kind of kept important information close to the chest when it shouldn't have, because it kind of compromised my understanding of it. So the thing that I mostly was dinging it on was the fact that the drug used testosterone, the chemical compound that it did used testosterone, which is what kind of made Buddy Love be so different from Sherman Klump.
Yeah.
And they didn't explain that till kind of a little bit after he'd already been Buddy Love a couple of times. And it was there's too much testosterone. And I was like, oh, the testosterone. That makes sense. Because up until that point, I was like, yeah, you just got skinny. You, I feel as your voice would still be pretty much the same. I would feel as though, your hair would still be kind of the same. And, why do you all of a sudden know karate? What are these things that are, changing? Especially because at first it seemed as though Buddy Klump was just, not Buddy Klump, oh my gosh. Buddy Love was just someone who kind of had, the confidence that Sherman himself didn't feel he could possess because he was fat. So I was like, why does he have all these other random skill sets that I don't, know where they're coming from? Why is he this loud? And why is all this happening? Yeah. But it was because the drug had testosterone. I was like, this is information I really feel as though you should have, I don't think I was stupid when I was watching it. I was like, they didn't mention this. Why did you not tell me this sooner?
Yeah, they really just
what was going on with that?
Said it in passing randomly toward the end, and then they flashed a high number on the screen at the end, and I was like, I guess that's the reason for all this. But yeah.
But yeah, because that was my big thing. I was like, why is he so different? Because it seemed to me that the drug was just a weight loss drug. So I was like, this isn't a personality drug.
Yeah.
Why are you becoming a douche?
Yeah. But yeah, I don't think I really had too many other negatives. Just some scenes lasting too long. But
yeah, I said the Billy Love and Reggie scene kind of lasted too long to me, especially when it got into them physically fighting. I was fine when they were just, trading barbs with each other, because that was actually pretty funny. Even though I felt as though Billy didn't have any, Billy was a caricature more so than, way more than Sherman was, because he had, one
Billy?
notch, and that was loud. Billy.
Or the
Buddy. I
oh,
wrote his name wrong.
Buddy. Oh, okay.
Buddy. Sorry, I know his name. I wrote it wrong. But like Buddy had like only one notch, and it was like at 11.
Yeah.
So like when they were trading barbs, I was more or less fine. I thought he was grating, but that was the point of him. But like once it got to them like physically fighting and him like at the piano, like say goodnight, Reggie, and I was like, what is even happening? I was like,
that got me too.
I was like, I think we lost sight of what the like good part of the scene was, which is him like essentially Sherman kind of like having the confidence and using Buddy as a proxy to like say back to Reggie what he wasn't able to that first night on their date. Like, and then it like just kind of dovetailed to in the end, and I was like, what are we even doing anymore? Like, he's fighting him in front of this crowd, and this crowd is like watching someone get beat up and laughing. He was the main performer here. He's why you're here. Why are you sad? Why are you happy he's gone? Like, this is why you guys are at this club.
So that and then a lot of scenes.
Yeah, and then the other thing that got me was it felt almost as though the couple of fat jokes that Sherman was in on himself, I guess, where he would like rub into something or whatever, it felt as though he didn't have enough body awareness to me. Like, even though he's fat, he's still like, you would still feel if you like bumped into something.
Yeah.
Like, I won't pretend I'm the skinniest person ever, but like when I bump into things, like I definitely can feel it if I bump into something.
Yeah.
Or like if I, and like the scene where he's like writing something and while he's there, he's like rubbing it off with his belly on the chalkboard. I'm like, no, you would feel that, wouldn't you? Like, I can feel when things are like touching me. Like, what? It just felt as though he didn't have enough body awareness to me, and that kind of irritated me. That was more of like a nitpicky thing, just like in terms of like the first scene where all the hamsters got loose or something.
Yeah.
Because he like said, I did this, and I turned around and, oh, would you look at that? I guess I accidentally like locked it. And I'm like, how? Like, one, this cage is making a noise, and two, like, you would still feel it. Like, if you're in a fat suit, you wouldn't feel it. If you're a fat person, you would feel it, though.
Yep. And then he proceeded to do it again, too, which goes on the, like, scenes just lingering too long, jokes just being told, like, one too many times. So, that was kind of the big thing for me, just, like, jokes being told one too many times, or scene, like, things just going a little too far, or going on for a little too long, you know?
Yeah. Even the end fight scene with Buddy v. Sherman, that lasted a long time.
Oh,
and
yeah.
And a lot of it, since he wasn't fighting anyone else, he was like essentially fighting himself. It was kind of a thing where you were almost like you were in that audience watching someone do it, and it's like, is no one going to intervene at this point? This is something wild that's happening on this stage. Like, even if you don't like don't subscribe to this, like, is no one gonna like take him off the stage? Like, are we all just gonna like stand here and watch this now? It was almost like they were watching the movie with us, and I'm like, you shouldn't be watching it with me. Like, someone should be active in that scene besides Eddie Murphy v. Eddie Murphy. Like, what is going on?
I definitely agree. Yeah. But ratings time?
Ratings. Ratings.
I guess you want to kick this one off?
Yeah, I can kick it off. I gave this a 3 out of 5. I did really enjoy it. I thought Eddie Murphy was really funny. I thought the professor was a very, like all the things I've been saying, I thought he was a compelling, sympathetic character that didn't like, that kind of like showed more nuance than you would expect from like, when you see like Eddie Murphy on the poster of the Nutty Professor, you kind of like get in your head, I know exactly where this movie's going to go. But it didn't in terms of like his characterization, which I thought was very awesome and refreshing. So that was nice. And I thought his chemistry with Jada Pinkett was really good. So the only thing was just like some of the scenes were too long and Buddy was irritating.
Yeah.
Like, when it was Buddy being irritated for a long time, I was in hell.
Yeah, definitely feel that. I actually gave this one 3 stars as well for pretty much like the same reasons. Like, to me, it actually was what I expected from the poster, but they actually put effort into like the plot and developing him as well, you know, because again, like I've said a couple of times, like it kind of was just like 90 minutes of like fat jokes or like, you know, those kind of like jokes and humor, but like layered in there, you still did get those pieces of like, oh, he's a character, he's an actual person too, he has feelings, these are the motivations for his actions. And I think the plot was also like, you know, definitely simple enough that they can, you know, just really like, okay, let's just build out our 2 characters in here, you know, let's build out or Sherman. Let's build out the buddy character. Let's build out the relationship with Miss Purdy. And that's kind of just the whole movie. Let's do it in 90 minutes. So, like, this was kind of the perfect movie for what it was. You know, that, like, this kind of fun, goofy movie you can throw on and just enjoy and still, you know, feel something for the characters as well.
Yeah.
But,
final question. Do you wish you saw this sooner?
I almost wrote yes, but then I wrote no because, like, I just didn't have a reason to say yes. Like, I had fun watching it. Like, it was funny, but I had no, like, actual reason to say yes. So, yeah, it's kind of a no for me.
That makes sense. Yeah, I'll also say a soft no, too, because, like, I'm thinking, like, I did enjoy this movie, but, like, I actually didn't need to have seen this sooner. Like, I almost feel as though this movie, anytime I would have seen it, would have been fine. Because this movie actually didn't age poorly.
No, yeah, it held up very well.
Which is something that I was thinking. Because again, you see a man in a fat suit and you're like, oh my God, this is going to be like torture. Yeah. Like, because again, when I went into this movie, you picked this one, so I didn't actually read the plot. I was just like, Nutty Professor, let's go. And I was like, it's Eddie Murphy in a fat suit. Oh my goodness, what's going to happen now? This can't, like, I don't know. But it actually held up surprisingly well. So I think that it doesn't matter when I would have seen it, so I'm fine.
Yeah. That was the Nutty Professor.
Yep.
YouTube housekeeping, like, comment, subscribe.
Ring the bell for notifications. If you have any movie suggestions for us, you can leave in the comments down below. We do movies on Tuesdays and Fridays. All of our socials will be linked in the description box down below. And we'll see you next time to catch up. Bye. He also has a singing career. I remember Party All the Time. Why do I remember hearing that song? Where would I have heard that? That's very odd to me that I heard that.
I mean, doesn't Will Smith have a singing career too?
No, I remember it. My girl wants to party all the time, party all the time. Where did we hear that?
Why have I heard that too? Yeah. Is that like... Maybe American Idol or something? Like, it's some
No, that was not on American Idol. Why have I heard that song?
Because I've definitely heard that too.
Yeah, why have I heard that song?